What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I don't even remember how to do these intros because it's been such a long time, but we finally bringing it back. Welcome back to Jaylen McClain Mondays. I'm Trayvon Maddox, and I'm here with Ohio State starting safety Jaylen McClain. How you doing, Jaylen?
I'm doing good. How about you, Trey?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's good to finally be back on one of these episodes with you. Now, the last time that you and I end up doing one of these was right after the Nebraska game in 2024 when you made your very first collegiate start.
Yep. It's been a
N-
minute since we did one of these.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about you tell me what would you say is the biggest aspect of your growth that you've had since that game?
Just being able to, I done had a season where I had Caleb and Lathan and and Coach G as well. And then, I had a season where I played next to Caleb this year. And just seeing them and how they operate just helped me a lot in my growth and seeing like their routines, how they go about their business for game planning. I feel like I try to take pieces from that and how they do their stuff, and I just wanted to put that into my game and not just like on the field, but know how they move off the field. And I just feel like that helped me grow a lot, and obviously preparation and practice like helps me grow.
Nice, nice. Now, the last time that we talked, I believe you were just 18 years old. You were true freshman at Ohio State. Now you're going into your junior year at Ohio State. What would you say, are some of the differences in your life altogether from 2024 to now?
Just going through the years of just like just getting older, gaining more experience. What I mean, becoming a leader, and obviously, like, every year is a new team, new culture, and just, trying to, you know, as a growing leader, just trying to get the team together, get people to learn the culture, so, get back on track to, what we're trying to get to, which is, national championship. And obviously, my life is just trying to stay the course, stay humble, stay in faith, and just, keep growing as an individual, man, as a whole.
Nice. Now, like you said, every year is a new team, and the year doesn't start in August or September. The year actually ends up starting in January when you guys get into the Woody. You guys are with Coach Mick and the strength staff, lifting, mat drill, stuff like that. What would you say the difference between coming in that spring 2024 when you're a true freshman, you got all types of new transfers with guys like Caleb Downs coming into the program, um, coming off of I think at that point it was like what, three straight losses against the team up north. Um, Ohio State was coming off against a bad loss against Missouri and having that hunger. What was the difference between spring 2024 and spring 2025 coming off of a national championship and arguably the best run in the college football playoffs in history?
Spring 2024, I feel like. That was my first, time being on campus. So I'm just trying to get used to the culture. And yeah, some guys, in my class, like Jeremiah and Julian, those guys were, they're coming in, trying to make a statement just like how I am. And then obviously, we had Caleb Downs come in, Quinshawn, and all those guys. And I feel like it was those guys that like, brought some juice to the team as well. And that Coach Day obviously was coming off, those few losses, to end the season, and I feel like he had a mission, and I feel like he went after the players he wanted, recruitment and the portal, and we got after it with like trying to make this run. We knew this from from the winter workouts,
Right.
and then coming in off the natty, I mean, the feeling's a little different. We try to stay grounded and try to remember that this is a it's over now. The national championship is over. We're not the same team no more. Those guys left. We built that national championship off those seniors' backs, like Lathan, Jay Sawyer, JT, Will, Trey, all those guys, and we had to realize like this is a whole new team now, and that what I mean, it ain't gonna be the same, but so you gotta keep the main thing regardless, and that's winning the national championship. So obviously we didn't get it done, but regardless, we put our best foot forward, and we knew we had to get it done, in the offseason in order to, to at least make a run.
Nice, nice. So you just said when you first came into Ohio State in 2024, you had to learn the culture. Now with you being an upperclassman, it's your responsibility to instill that culture
Right,
that you learn into these young guys. You got young guys like Blaine Bradford coming on in. You got older guys who are transferring, like I think Trey Moore, the safety from Duke,
right,
guys
yeah.
like that coming in. What are the values that you try to instill and those guys who are just now coming into the program?
Do you know that like this place is a little different than like where you're coming from, whether it's high school or another school. But regardless, like people like Terry Earl, like they put a lot of ball. So just them just keeping the main thing, they ain't coming for no reason. You know what I mean? So just just buying into the culture, that Coach Mick has tried to build, Coach Day tried to build. Just what I mean, just buying in and just being yourself regardless of circumstances. And then obviously the high school guys like Blaine and Cade and Kamari. Simeon, those guys just, what I mean, letting them know that no, this is not high school. We're gonna have to compete. And I like what I've seen so far from them, regardless that they're competing. They know that all of them, even Terry early, they're competing. I'm loving it. And I mean, just like I said, just buying into the culture, and that it's gonna be a little different and a little harder for my school. And then they could rely, they could lean on me, for anything they need in order to grow.
Nice. And talking about, building a culture, really building a legacy at The Ohio State University, you've actually, and kind of getting away from football for a second, you've built a pretty good legacy for yourself already in only 2 years as a collegiate athlete. How about you tell everybody a little bit more about the Jaylen McClain and Family Foundation?
Yeah, so the Jaylen McClain Foundation, we're a foundation just trying to, what I mean, show everybody that like everybody could be, everyday Legends Foundation. So this Jaylen McClain's, which is mine, but it's the Everyday Legends Foundation, and
Yes.
we're just trying to showcase everyday legends. I mean, people that are putting work in for their communities, trying to highlight those guys, people that uh trying to help out people that communities that need help. What I mean, trying to put just I'm just using my platform that I have, as a Ohio State athlete and NIL and all that. I'm just trying to put it to the best use I possibly can because, like I said, like not everybody's as fortunate, and so that's why I gave back, on Christmas. Um, and there's also now I'm not the only one out here that's really doing things for the community, so that's why I know my foundation we post people every Wednesday, you know what I mean, or whatever day it is, I forgot. We post people that, are doing it for, for everybody and they're putting on. And it's, it's a good thing out here that we have people like that. So I just want to be a part of that because I feel like it's a good thing for, just not Ohio, but New Jersey or wherever people are from.
Nice, nice. How did you end up actually coming up with this idea?
Just, a lot of talks to my family, just knowing that, like, I feel like this is almost essential. Like, I always wanted to be able to help out people and just, what I mean, donate, give back, and just, what I mean, help, just be able to help.
Nice. Speaking of legacy and giving back, you actually have a little brother who just signed. He's going to be playing FBS, Power Four football. KJ McClain, safety out of New Jersey. What advice have you given to your little brother?
Just go to school and compete and just keep the main thing the main thing. No matter where you're going, you're gonna have to compete regardless. Obviously Tennessee's a pretty good school, so it's gonna be hard. So just don't give up. Just keep pushing.
Nice. Now, is there anything in his game that you actually see and think, wow, he's actually a little bit more advanced in this specific facet than I was when I was his age?
Obviously him having me, he got to see like, different type of mentality, coming from somebody like me going to school and competing. So I feel like he's seen that and he's gonna run with that going into school and he's gonna show people, what I mean, just trying to prove people wrong all the time. And he's gonna go into school, do his thing. So just the mentality part, that's big.
Nice. And then you have an even younger brother. You guys are all 2 years apart. I just did the math in my head. But Kel McClain, he's actually a 2028 kid.
Yeah.
So he's officially going on those, being a junior official visits, getting recruited and things like that. What specifically from the recruiting aspect of it have you been able to help your brother with?
Uh, you know, Obviously, like, he's a little younger, so like it's not really, much I can really say to him in terms of like, and he's a different position. He's a defensive end, you know what I mean? So you're not the
Yeah.
same position, but as a big brother, as an athlete, I'm just telling him just just relax, just be patient. Things are gonna come. You're gonna see a lot of things come up. You're gonna, a lot of coaches gonna start hitting you up. You know what I mean? You gotta know how to, take control, stay grounded and just let things come.
Nice. So with this being your going into your third year at Ohio State, you've dealt with a lot of turnover so far at Ohio State. Going from you actually got recruited by Coach Perry Eliano. As soon as you got there, he ended up leaving. Coach Matt G ended up coming in. Your freshman year, you had defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, and then sophomore year you had Matt Patricia. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference between the scheme and everything that you guys scheme up between Jim Knowles and Matt Patricia?
Yeah, so obviously like, my freshman year, I was just, coming up out of high school, just trying to learn the system. And obviously, coming into my sophomore year, having to learn a whole other system. Um, I would say that, Coach Knowles had his ways of, going about things with like, name signals and, all that type of stuff. And like just a lot of just knowing a lot of things. And I feel like that helped me a lot going into the year with Matt Patricia, because
Hmm.
obviously Coach Knowles was pretty complex with his defense, and obviously we won a championship with it, and it looked pretty good. You know what I mean? But it helped
Yes.
me a lot going into the Matt Patricia's defense, and obviously it's a little bit more simpler. And what I mean, Coach Patricia, spent a lot of time, with me and the defense trying to know it and make it as simple as possible so we could play fast. And we know we had a lot of fun with it as well. So, different turnarounds, but it was a lot of fun though, regardless.
Nice. Hey, like you said, like the terminology is always going to be different from coach to coach, coordinator to coordinator.
Yeah.
I bet one of those things that kind of helped with that was Coach Matt G being there
Oh yeah,
with
of
him
course. Yeah.
had yeah, him being there for so long with Coach Jim Knowles and
Yeah.
then switching over to like that NFL style defense. I
Exactly.
know, yeah. I think from what I saw, like just watching the game, just how different they use that nickel position
Yeah.
from kind of going from more of like a safety and a guy like a Jordan Hancock in 2024 to going to a Lorenzo Styles who was more kind of built like a corner to
Right.
me and how that was able to go about. I know that when you first, like I said, when you first came in here, Coach Eliano actually recruited you. He
Right.
told me he saw you. He knew he could develop you. He didn't care anything about recruiting rankings or stars or anything. You told me personally during our first interview, you didn't care about transfers. Whoever comes in, they got to compete with you. You actually ended up winning the job your sophomore year. Tell me about the day that you were officially announced as the starter.
So I wasn't really not started really until like the first game, but I mean, I ran with the ones in camp and all that, but I mean, I didn't really think of it like anything. I just knew regardless, like it's an uphill battle regardless. Like you're gonna have to fight, climb. You know what I mean? Every day you try to get 1% better because you always have somebody that's, that wants your spot. Regardless, like I got, people behind me that want what I have, and it's not personal. It's just it's the mind of it's all mental. You know what I mean? Like if you're a freshman, why aren't you trying to, you know what I mean, start? Like it's respect. You gotta respect yourself in your game, and that's the same way I was. You know what I mean? Even though Lathan and Caleb were the starters, I wanted to. I mean, I wanted to, keep. I was competing against them regardless. So they were better than me, but I was
Yeah,
still competing. That's what made me better. So, um,
nice.
it's just that's the mentality you just gotta have.
Nice. So speaking of Lathan and Caleb, Lathan Ransom actually just finished his rookie season for the Carolina Panthers. Caleb Downs is going to be going into the NFL draft,
Yep.
likely going to be a top 10 pick. Can you
Right.
tell me the most important lesson you've learned from each of those guys?
Really just like seeing how they like really are, like just to stay humble, stay grounded. Like those two, like probably the most humble people I ever met. You know what I mean? Like real down to earth guys, and you know what I mean. They're doing it the right way. I feel like they're not out here doing all that extra stuff that you see a lot of people doing, and they're just playing their game the right way, and living their life the right way. So why wouldn't you want to be like that? You know what I mean? Those are like role models to me. So I'm just trying to follow in their footsteps.
Okay. Um, a lot of that comes with being like mature and being humble. It comes with that growth as you get older. There's been a lot of talk, especially last season with the success that Indiana actually had between roster building and whether or not how important it is to have like those older, fourth year, fifth year, sixth year guys versus having like those younger talented guys. From your experience playing 2 years of college football, do you think it is more challenging to play against those older guys who may not be as talented but are kind of seasoned, or those younger guys who have that higher talent threshold?
I really don't know. Like I feel like I don't really like obviously I know the depth charts of people that's on the field I'm on the field with, but when it comes to age, like obviously you could tell when someone's more experienced, like a quarterback,
Yeah.
or a receiver, running back. But I feel like, at the end of the day, the ball gotta be snapped regardless. Like, and whoever's better is gonna be better. You know what I mean? So, we don't play
Yeah.
games where, we might be a younger team, but we're still gonna play our thing, play our game and do our thing. And
Okay.
obviously, like a team like Indiana, they're a little older, we know that, but that they executed with it and they won a national championship. So I mean, we can't hate on it, but you just gotta learn. Like as like us, Ohio State, we gotta just learn from that, see what we gotta do to adjust.
Yeah. Okay. So now the 2025 season is in the books. We're looking forward to 2026 now. All of that is behind you. What was the biggest challenge that you personally faced as a starter in the 2025 season?
Just knowing in my head that I gotta, just be consistent, like just not like trying to beat myself up if I feel like you know what I mean, like didn't play my best game or have my best practice. Just trying to stay level headed and just, be able to just move on. Because as a starter, like you really as a safety, you can't make mistakes. You know what I mean? The only thing behind you is the end zone. So anything past us, that's a touchdown. So just me in my head, just just trying to be consistent and just play my role and just not trying to be on a decline. If something didn't go right, just don't stay down. So I wouldn't say that's something I struggle with, but just what I mean, just something I was very conscious of, what I mean, in my head throughout the season.
Nice. You just said the only thing that's behind you as a safety is the end zone, not making mistakes. Often as a safety, you got to clean up a lot of mistakes.
Right,
On the very first play, I was sitting right here on this couch against that team up north. Jordan Marshall almost took one to the house, and you
right.
made the touchdown saving tackle. Tell me about that game. It was your second time playing that game. You were playing in the big house as a starter, obviously with all the animosity and tension that lasted from what happened at the end of the 2024 season. Talk to me about that game.
That game is always gonna be electric. You know what I mean? Obviously being in their house, we knew it was gonna be very toxic environment, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And we just knew we were getting ourselves into from from the moment we landed to the moment we was gonna leave. So,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, we gotta play our game. No matter who we playing against. Obviously, it's a really big game, but I mean, it's just another team that we gotta get through because we have a plan, beyond them. So, um, great game plan. Obviously, Jordan Marshall busted the first run and I had to get it down, but I mean, next play and obviously we made him go for a few field goals and offense delivered big time for us. JJ, Julian Carnell and those boys and we ultimately we won the game, but great environment. It feels great to win in their house. Obviously it's
Yeah.
a minute since we had beat them last, so it was a little bit more special and I just knew that regardless now. Season's over now, 12-0. Now we got go to Big Ten championship.
Yeah. Well, you just gave the offense a ton of credit, but you got to give your defense credit. You guys have probably the best defense in the country this season. Looking at analytics and stuff, you guys have one of the best defenses in history when it comes to points per game, things like that. You went into the big house, and didn't give up a single touchdown the whole game. Um, does do you guys get a sense of pride when you hear how great you are in terms of that defense, especially compared to the 2024 defense when a lot of people thought, hey, missing pieces, guys like Denzel Burke, Lathan Ransom going into the NFL, other guys, do you guys get a sense of pride knowing that you had such a big set of shoes to fill from that previous team?
Yeah, because Ohio State we don't rebuild, we just reload. That's what they saying. We just reload. We always got talent, coming in, leaving, and I feel that's just a part of Ohio State's a factory, just NFL product. So we knew what we had before anyone else did. So we knew that before the season, this is what our plan was. We're gonna be the best defense in the country. What I mean, try to lead us to a national championship. Obviously, we didn't get it done, but we just knew that was our mission from the start, and we had to, what I mean, if anyone was gonna do it, it could have been the defense. So that's how we think.
Nice. So I had to wait a couple of years to ask this question. Until you've been to a couple of different places, played a lot. Could you give me, and it doesn't have to be in order, but could you give me your top five, um, best college football atmospheres that you've played in?
Okay, so I'm gonna include the shoe. What I mean, that's one
Of
of them.
course.
Oregon, Austin Stadium. Uh, I'm gonna go with Wisconsin. That was kind of lit. I'm not gonna lie.
Jump
Uh,
around.
then we had. We're not including. I'm not including any bowl sites or anything like that. I'm just.
You're not gonna put the Rose Bowl in there?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to like put like the college
It
like.
could be well yeah,
Uh,
we'll make a separate list for that. You're right. All right, so we
um,
said Ohio Stadium,
Ohio Stadium,
Austin Stadium,
Austin.
I
We
think
had
it's yeah,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin,
Um, who else we played? I'm gonna include. I'm gonna include Penn State in there. That was cool. I like the little stadium they had.
Penn
I
State,
played there my
nice.
freshman year.
Yeah,
And even though it's a little hostile environment, we don't really mess with them. But I'll include
team up north.
TM North Stadium because we beat them in their house, so that's cool.
Isn't it? And I've heard this from people, but you played in both the games, so you have as big of a perspective as anybody. Does it kind of throw you off how small in comparison to the big house Austin Stadium is and how loud it gets compared to in the big house, it's the largest stadium in the country, but it's not really built to hold as much noise.
Uh, yeah. Before we went to Oregon, I didn't really think it was gonna be that loud, and then I got there, it was so loud, like it was insane. Like I always talk about it, like it was insane. Like it threw me off pretty much because I didn't realize like even though it was only what like less than like 60,000
Yeah.
and it was still the loudest stadium I ever played in. So
Nice. Now, with that being said, you just told me about the best atmospheres that you've played in. Can you tell me a little bit about what was your favorite place to actually travel to play a football game in your college career?
the Rose Bowl,
Rose Bowl?
that was something
Nice.
different right there. The Rose Bowl was fun, like Cali, uh, the historical Rose Bowl stadium, and no playing there with my brothers. The way the game just went down, like it don't get no better than that. So that was great, a great environment.
Nice. With that Rose Bowl game, obviously you guys got up to a huge lead, 31 to zip. Can you tell me about like what was the atmosphere like on that sideline when you guys got up to that big lead against Oregon?
I feel like at that point we knew that it was real and that we were probably going to win the national championship, honestly. Like we were like, yeah, like this, we're on the roll now. Like it was they let us in and it was gonna be dangerous. Like no matter what they were saying about us after that Team North loss, that like now we're rolling when it matters now. So it was, it was big time. We were excited.
Nice. Now we done went through the Team Up North game. We got to obviously the that playoff run and everything. Let's talk about the national championship game. How did it feel in your first ever experience as a college football player, that historic run you guys went on, and ultimately winning a national championship your freshman year?
It felt great because I feel like we had to go through a lot of ups and downs throughout that season to get to where we ended at. So it meant a lot more that like because everyone knows we lost to Oregon week 6. Lost the TL North in that last game. Didn't make the Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
Was sitting for a while. Had to play against Tennessee at home and go to Rose Bowl in Oregon. play Texas and then also we Notre Dame in the championships, like we had to go through the gauntlet. Like we knew like it just meant more knowing that we had to recoup, understand that the season not over when everyone else thought it was, you know what I mean? So just, be able to do that and just, come out on top, it just meant a lot more, especially to the people like the seniors that came back and this is what they came here for. They didn't come back to, lose to Oregon and the team up north. Like they came back to hold that trophy. So, we did it for them, honestly.
Nice. Now, with you being, a junior, you've seen a couple of different classes here at Ohio State. Can you tell me, you've only done mat drills, strength training and conditioning so far, but can you tell me, based on what you've seen with this incoming 2026 class, what have you seen from those guys, and have any of them kind of reminded you a bit of yourself as a freshman in terms of that mentality to come in and just be a dog?
Uh, yeah, so this class, like they came in, it's a lot of them. And they came in and they've been grinding. You know what I mean? Like, I love what I'm seeing right now from, not just my safety group, but just, everybody like the D line, linebackers, receivers, running backs, the O line, you know, quarterback, they're grinding. You know what I mean? They came with that
Yeah,
mentality that like no matter what grade I'm in, no matter how old I am, no matter who's in front of me, I'm gonna try to outwork you and try to compete with you because I know like you guys know what the standard is, y'all know what the culture is, so I'm gonna follow right behind you. And somebody that, that's been, catch my eye, when it comes to like that competition, that dog is Simeon Caldwell. Yeah, he's been grinding hard, you know what I mean? He's been trying to like, call me out and just compete against me and I can respect
yeah,
that a whole lot, you know what I mean?
nice.
For a young guy, not a lot of people, would want to do that, but he wants that work, and I can respect that.
Okay. In terms of the guys who are, returning, there's you, Jermaine Matthews, Devin Sanchez. You're gonna have guys stepping up into new roles like Peyton Pierce, Garrett Stover, Riley Pettijohn, guys like that. Who would you say that you've seen the most growth out of from spring 2025 until here now, spring 2026?
Someone I've seen a lot of growth from is Miles Lockhart. Like I feel like he's grown into, a better person, better football player, and he's just, he's been grinding. Obviously,
Yes.
like, with his role last year, he could have left and went anywhere he wanted. But he's here and he's, he's stepping up. He's being, he's accountable and he's just grinding. You know what I mean? He's trying to carve a role out for himself on his team as he was, on special teams last year. So, no, that's big.
Yeah. And I know he's battled a ton of adversity with everything that he's had to go through in terms of the depth at Ohio State. Obviously, if you go to Ohio State, you have to be ready to compete, but also potentially waiting your turn. He
Right.
came in, Jordan Hancock, probably with the best nickel in the country, thinking he's gonna be behind him. Obviously, Lorenzo Styles ended up moving over to the nickel that next season. Um, Jermaine Matthews repped nickel a lot, and they had him moving to nickel in a lot of packages that they brought in Devin Sanchez on the field to play that boundary role.
Yeah.
Even Bryce West, I know he took a lot of reps in that nickel as well.
Yeah.
So having that patience, and now he's going into year three and having that opportunity to push and make that too deep, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you got because you didn't redshirt your first year, so you got 2 years left of
Yeah.
eligibility. Your first season, you won a national championship. Second season, you beat the team up north. What is the biggest goals that you have left that you would like to accomplish with your 2 years left at Ohio State?
Uh, I want to win another national championship. Nobody could walk around the facility like alumni and everything is come in the facility and say they won two national championships. Especially like in this new age of college football with 12 team playoff or even with the 14, like nobody's done that. So I feel like that's something I really want to accomplish in my career. I want to start it now, with this season, and then I want to be able to I want to be able to keep the Thorpe in Columbus. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's one of my goals I want. And obviously I have to grind. It's gonna be hard, but I have to go get it. You know what I mean? I can't just say it. I have to put my actions behind it.
Nice. I mean, we've already seen a defensive back that was recruited by Perry Eliano, three-star guy, not like highly rated or anything, win that Thorpe Award in Ohio. We could see the next one with Jaylen McClain right here. Last question, and then we're gonna wrap everything up. Based on how that season ended in 2025, obviously with the loss to Indiana and Miami, but then also those wins against the team up north, the win against Texas, things like that. What is the biggest lesson that you took from 2025 and you would take with you into 2026?
Like I said, like every team is new, every team's different. Like just because this worked for last team doesn't mean it's gonna work for this team. Just because we said this last year doesn't mean it's gonna apply this year. So, what I mean, just finding out what's gonna work for us and finding out the culture changes, finding out who's gonna really, help this team go the distance and just be able to accomplish our goals of just, go undefeated, beating a team up north, win the Big Ten championship, and ultimately a national championship.
Yeah, it's certainly a standard at Ohio State. Unless you go 16-0 and win the whole thing, there's always going to be like something left on the bone that you guys are going to want to accomplish in that next season. And that's always a good place to be. Thank you, Jaylen, for coming on. Obviously you're very busy, so it's good to have you coming back on the show and everything. And I'd like to wish you luck in spring ball. Obviously, I'm hoping to have you back here a little bit more
Yep.
consistently, but never knowing how the schedules and everything work out. Thank you for being on and wish you the best in the spring.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, make sure you like and comment and subscribe if you're new. And until next time, remember, always get 1% better every single day. Peace.